Back here with the top 2001 Monte Carlo engine revamp project. As you guys see from my previous videos, if you guys are following along, I picked this engine up from Miami, where I used to live at, and I brought it up here and I took it apart, disassembled it, got rid of some bad stuff in it, and cleaned it, revamped it, refreshened it, and threw it back in the car. This is the original engine that the vehicle came with. It's 3800 2 Series. This is a 2001 Monte Carlo SS. This is a non-supercharged engine. This is the L36, naturally aspirated. I believe the supercharged is the L67. This engine had a knock problem, and I couldn't figure out what it was. I was leaving work one day back, way back, and it had 145,000 on the dash at the time. And I was leaving work, and it just started knocking, clock. And back then, I was so impatient with it, I didn't really have time to take the engine out and look and see what was wrong with it. I was being impatient. I had other things I was doing at the time, and I did have another vehicle. I had the 2000 Tahoe. You guys seen in other videos. And I was driving that for a while until I found the junkyard motor, which is over here. And I bought this junkyard motor for $550, I believe. And if I gave him the core, which was the engine that's in the Monte Carlo, now if I had given them that core, they would have gave me back, I believe, $150 back, or $50 back. I'm not sure what it was. But I kept the original engine, took this one. This is the junkyard motor. I revamped this one, changed the valve cover gasket, lower upper intake manifold, put a new plenum on it, a new water pump. I did a lot of things to this engine, and through it all, it gave me what, 40,000 miles of work. So I guess it did its course. It did what it was supposed to do, get me by until whenever, because I didn't think I would have this engine in the vehicle long term regardless. So, but back to this now. Today we're working on error code. I'm getting P0341, and basically is this little guy right here. This is your camshaft sensor, camshaft position sensor, error code P0341. This is the camshaft sensor out of a 3800 series. It's painted. That's why it looks like this. But if it was not painted, it would look like this right here. So this is like a little magnet, or it has a little magnetic field sensor in it. And I guess the sprocket on the camshaft, as the sprocket turns, it reads the timing, I'm assuming. That's how it's supposed to go. But this the one that's painted. You remember I painted the engine. You can see the color. They kind of match. I painted the motor when I had put it all together. Well, majority of it together. I painted it. A lot of components I did not paint. But yeah, this one went bad. For some reason, it was giving me an error code, and I cleaned it up, and I had taken it out, cleaned it out, and put it in the engine before the engine went into the car. And I figured it was a good piece, and I kept it. Now I'm not sure if this one's from the original motor, which is this one, or the junkyard motor over there, which is that one. But yeah, I'm getting error code P0341. So, and I don't drive the vehicle. After I put the engine in, I let the vehicle run once a week for like 30 minutes. So for once a week for 30 minutes for the past month, I've been letting the vehicle run just to get the battery charged, and I get diagnostics on the vehicle itself. I check the oil, check the transmission fluid, check the power steering fluid, see if anything leaks, see everything went low, see anything went bad, if it's discoloration or anything like that. So that's the purpose of me doing that, because I'm not taking this car anywhere. I have my Honda right here. But anyways, we're getting to to this issue today. And this is one of the sensors out of two, because there was two engines here. So this one I cleaned up and I had put it to the side, and today's the day that I installed it. This basically lives underneath the water pump. This is the water pump right here. And basically it lives underneath the water pump. We're gonna see if we can go underneath. I don't know. Let's see if I can see it. Show it to you guys. It's right. Come on. Stick my hand in there holding the phone without dropping it. Yeah, I didn't think this one through, huh? But anyways, it lives under here. I'm trying to get a good angle so I can show it to you guys. Let's see. Alright, there we go. Alright, this hole right here is where it lives at, and I don't know, you might be able to see the sprocket in there. I'll move it around a little bit. You see the sprocket in there? I'm assuming it has magnetic pieces on the sprocket itself that measure timing when they send electrical pulse through the sensor itself. And I guess it'll send the reading back to the ECU or PCM, whichever one it works with. So yeah, I'll take this sensor right now and we'll go to the junkyard motor, which is a little bit more easier. So this is the water pump, well, the housing, excuse me. This is the sensor, and it sits in here just like this. And we're gonna go inside and look. Well, this is the bad motor. This is the sprocket for the camshaft, or the gear, whatever you want to call it, sprocket, gear. I'll call it sprocket. But it's the gear for the camshaft, and this the blown head gasket motor. Now, I did not take the heads off to verify that the head gasket is actually blown, but after I took this engine to a certain, point of disassembling it, it's been clear to me that it might be the head gasket that blown. So this is where the sensor go at, and it lives right in here just like this. And whenever you crank the vehicle, it's supposed to correspond with the sprocket on the inside, give it timing readings back here, and then spark plugs, firing order, and all this nonsense. But yeah, we're having a little issue with that because I'm getting P0341, and that's for that. So I just want to give you guys a little update on where it's located on the 3800. This is the passenger side. This serpentine belt got to come off. The power steering pump down here got to come off. Not necessarily off the vehicle itself, but off the mounting point. This little wetness that you see here is from me pulling the coolant reservoir. It sits right here, and I kind of shoved it and shook it around a little bit to get it out, and it got a little coolant and whatnot on the reservoir itself. I do believe if I keep this vehicle, that power steering pump and reservoir with the pulley, the whole assembly, has to be changed, and along with the high pressure hose and the return line. So that's something to think about. Hell, even the rack and pinion might have to go too. But there's no damage to the rack and pinion. I changed that rack and pinion maybe 3 or 4 months after I got the vehicle. I changed the fluids in the power steering reservoir, and I replaced the high pressure hose. So I did a lot of maintenance on this vehicle. This vehicle is not neglected at all. I spent a lot of money and time into this vehicle, from the audio equipment to actual mechanical repairs, down to the brake shoes that goes in the rear that a lot of people don't know about. This vehicle is 4-disc brakes, but it does have drums in the rear for the emergency brake, and I have previous videos on that. Also, down to electrical wiring under the hood and under the kick panel for the driver's side. This vehicle had a lot of issues when I purchased it, and this is my project car. I always wanted a Monte Carlo. I did not know what I was getting myself into, but it was something to do in the meantime. You know, a lot of people have different hobbies. By trade, I was a mechanic, a mechanic apprentice by trade, and I was just learning little things here and there, and I decided to purchase a vehicle and see if I could, bring it up to the level that I felt like I could bring it to and wanted it to be at. And that's why I ended up purchasing this vehicle. And I've always wanted a Monte Carlo, and between 2000 and 2005 was the year that I liked. Even though later on they brought the other version, which is, I think it was the 6th Gen 2.0. That's what I'll call it. I think it's a 6th Gen 2.0, right? Because this is I believe this 2005, 2004, 32. Yeah, from 2000 to 2005 was, I believe, the 6th Gen. And then 2006 and 7 was the 6th Gen revamp. Don't quote me on that. I think that's how it went. But regardless, we swapping out the sensors, trying to make sure, get rid of this error code. I have no other check engine light codes other than that P0341. So again, that's where it's at. It lives under the water pump down here. You got to take the power steering housing off, or pump off the reservoir attached to it and all that good stuff. Take the serpentine belt off, take the coolant reservoir off, and you fish your way down there, and you find your way around, and you get to the 10 millimeter bolt that holds it, and swap out the sensor. This one is pretty clean on the inside. I was spraying it. I cleaned it up real good. The O-ring is very good. O-ring is in good condition. There's no rips, there's no crack, there's no fray or anything like that. The sensor itself looks very, very good. And the connectors on the inside, they're clean. There's no corrosion on them. There's no gunk, no mud. You see a little shine in there because I was spraying the inside of the connector with starter fluid. Just cleaning the contacts and getting rid of anything that could possibly be on here that's causing any issues or would cause any issue. But other than that, the sensor looks very good. So I'm going to put it in, and we're going to fire this thing up, let it run for 30 minutes, and I'll continue on with my day. And as things progress, I'll give updates on the vehicle. But the Monte Carlo is still for sale. I'll give you guys a full tour of the interior when I get a chance. This is the interior right now. This is a quick glance. Like I said, when I redid this vehicle, I got all the interior parts that came with it from a donor vehicle. Remember, this car was the interior was tan when I purchased it, and I went to the junkyard and I took everything that I could, actually. Some pieces in this vehicle is original. I just used duplicate color paint and painted some of the things in there, but for the most part, the vehicle is complete on the interior. For the most part, you'll see some Monte Carlos missing ashtray, which is this one has down here. Got a cup holder. This car is 2001 and it's pretty beat up when I purchased it, but I've tried my best to maintain it, and this is the daily driver. I drove this car almost every day that I owned it. I drove this vehicle. This car was not a show car, even though it had 24s on it, music, nice paint job. It was not a I keep saying kosher. It was not a car show vehicle. It was just a daily driver. But we still working on it. I want to redo the headliner and adjust the headliner and the piece right there for the sunroof. Sunroof does work. I replaced the sunroof a while ago. There's a video on that also. And I replaced the carpet. I had the seat upholstered. And I took all the black pieces I could find off a donor vehicle and transferred it to this one and got rid of the cream tan color. And it goes all the way through the back. And this is just a little preview of the interior. Like I try my best to keep the vehicle clean. And that's it right now. This is the 2001 Monte Carlo, a little quick update. I'll see y'all later.